I guess that time, that family reunion, God was speaking to you little by little throughout your path? Or how did you recognize this is something that I'm supposed to pursue? Hi guys, my name is Lauren Maluki and welcome back to another episode of In Harmony, giving you lights and encouragement to pursue the incredible life that God has for you. Today is a very special day because we have our second guest on the show. Today I am joined by the amazing Darnell Smith.
What's good? What's good?
Yes.
How y'all doing?
Thank you so much for joining us today, Darnell. So really quick recap for people who don't know you. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your story.
Myself and my story, that's different depending on who I'm talking to, but for today I can go with, I'm Darnell, a photographer, entrepreneur. I consider myself as an entrepreneur of entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I want to take other people who have business mindsets and a dream and a drive to have something for themselves and teach them how they can take their business or the idea alone from the base ground to top tier. So a lot of people think business is hard to start or hard to make it. Mm-hmm. But me, myself, I think just by having that willpower and that drive, you can make it to a place where somebody you aspire to be is. So more about me, my story, I'm empathetic. I'm a Christian. I love God. Mm-hmm. That's something that drives me.
That's how we met.
Yeah,
through
definitely.
Our church.
Definitely,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I aspire to have people around me that's like really interested in making something of themselves. I love people who have a drive. I love people who have like a mindset of helping others. Empathetic. As I said, that's really something that is important to me. Right. Somebody who is really empathetic. And then love leads my life. That's my story.
So one of the things I admire the most about you, Darnell, is, yes, as we said, we met at church through specifically, I guess, our leadership, this leadership course that we were taking in the youth group at our church, or the young adult group at our church, because we grown these days, all right? So one of the things I admire about you the most is how hardworking you are. Mm-hmm. Even just before this podcast started, I'm like, hey, Darnell, how many hours of sleep did you get last night? And your response was...
A good 4 hours.
A good 4 hours, not a bad 4 hours. We're going to take advantage of those hours. So something I admire about you is your drive. Mm-hmm. I understand you're not from El Paso, right? Mm-hmm. You just kind of moved here because of work?
Oh, yes. I'm also in the Army. I try not to lead with that, but I'm a soldier in the Army, and I'm from Florida. Nice. So Fort Lauderdale, Florida, where I was born and raised, Broward County.
Yeah.
So for y'all that down there, representing them.
So you literally came here, didn't know a soul or knew very few souls, and here you are, firmly planted and making the best out of your life. Mm-hmm. So I know you mentioned you're a business owner, something you like to call an entrepreneur of entrepreneurs, which I've never heard before. That's such a cool title. Tell me a little bit more about what compelled you or inspired you to start your photography business.
Oh, photography business? So in high school, my uncle, he lent me his camera just for like a family reunion. Okay. It was something small, simple. He didn't think much of it, but just taking pictures of other people, saying how happy they were, like the joy that brought to their faces and their lifestyle. Yeah. I was like, dang, like I have to take this somewhere further. Like I could take a picture of somebody eating and it just brighten up their day. I was like, if it's a possible way for me to make money out of this and take it further, then by any means necessary, I was going to get there. So that family reunion right there went from me taking a photography class in high school, 12th grade. And then after 12th grade, I was like, okay, like I can do this, like maybe full time. So I did yearbook. Yearbook was when I first got my name for myself. Okay. So people began calling me Houdini, and them.
You said, I like that name.
So I took that and I was like, okay, like this is gonna be my business name forever. I started off as Houdini Graphics, and then now at this point, Houdini Portraits. So
okay, cool.
In the beginning stages, I had my studio in my mom's garage. Okay. So it was nothing at first. We always was like, we're going to make something back here, turn into a theater. Nobody made a move, so I was like, all right, bet. Like, I went in there during COVID time, like, gutted it out, me and my friends, and then I turned it to a full-fledged studio. So we put the floor down, put a hole in the wall so I can have, like, a little office with a window looking out. Wow. And then family and friends started coming throughout the beginning times. So those were my first customers. Wow. And then the word just started to spread, and then from there, my business slowly grew.
Okay. Yeah. So as you know, the name of this podcast is called In Harmony. So the intention behind every episode is to help people kind of align themselves with the purpose that God placed on their life. Do you feel like you are, and this is kind of off script, not really the area I was looking to go down, but would you say that I guess that time, that family reunion, God was speaking to you little by little throughout your path? Or how did you recognize this is something that I'm supposed to pursue?
It's funny you asked that. At the time, definitely no. Like,
okay.
To be completely honest, like vulnerable, as we talk about in our groups, I wasn't at that point of thinking like where God wanted to lead me through something. I just knew it was something I had a passion for, something that I had a drive for. I never could put my camera down. It didn't matter if I was at a sports game, if I was at high school, if I was, I don't know, anywhere. Like, that was a passion I had, and I had my camera with me. Now, at this point in time, I'm looking and searching. I've been trying to figure out my purpose. Like, how can I use my gift, my talent, my skill to do God's work? How can I use this to further the kingdom? And that's what I've pursued since I've been in the Army. It's like, okay, I have the clientele now, at least a little bit, to be stable. Mm-hmm. I have a studio now at this point. How can I use these things to push forward God's kingdom? And that's what I strive to look for every day. I've tasted a little bit. I got like it on the tip of my tongue, but I'm still searching to have like the full meal, the full appetite of what God wants me. But I'm kind of getting there, and it's hard work. It's a long process, but in due time, I'll fully be walking in my purpose and my calling with my business. That's the goal.
Speaking of hard work, as you and I both know, owning a business, running a business, being an entrepreneur is wildly difficult. Mm-hmm. What would you say was the biggest obstacle that you had to overcome, or maybe are overcoming in starting your business or pursuing your purpose?
All right, I'm going to try to make this blunt, but not like I'm attacking anybody. But something I really despise is lazy people. Mm-hmm. I don't like people that complain a lot or have an excuse for everything. My dad, during his time here, he taught me like to be able to work hard. He taught me to be able to go get whatever you want. And anytime I see myself like slacking or taking a step back to complain, then I like kind of I beat myself up for it, honestly. Wow. It may be negative to some people, but that's what got me to this point. That's what it hasn't been instilled in me since I was like 12 years old. So I always keep working, no matter how bright it may look in the moment or how dark it may look. Like, I know God is going to provide for me. He has. So for the last 6 years, CJ just asked me today, he's on Fridays we talk about like.
CJ's one of our friends. Shout out to CJ.
Yeah, definitely. So every Friday we come together, he says like, what's your praise report for today? And today I thought about it. I said like, I have everything I prayed for 6 years ago in this moment. It might not be a perfect lifestyle. It might not be like exactly where I want to be now. But at that moment, I prayed for all this stuff and I have it now. Wow. So thinking back to this moment from that time, like Darnell would be proud of me. So working hard is what got me to this point. That's something that I had to overcome. Not necessarily to say that I never had it within me, but it's something that I have to wrestle with because people around me, culture, my friends, some people that might be my associates, people at work, they're comfortable with being at where they are. They're like comfortable being content, but I never can be content. Like, can I go on a tangent?
Absolutely. Right, go into it.
So I listen to D3, Pastor Darius Daniels. Okay. And he has something that he says, it's 3 ways that you can live. It's either sinking, surviving, or thriving. Okay. And when I heard that, I said, dang, okay, let me dive a little bit deeper into that. So he says, like, if you want to live the God life, the Jesus kind of life that he gave us, you can't be satisfied with sinking. Then you can't be satisfied with surviving. You have to be satisfied with thriving. Wow. So when he said that, I was like, okay, like I kept listening. And then I got into his teachings and I would listen to him. And everything that he preaches and teaches about is us living the thriving life, the Jesus kind of life. Yeah. Like, we can't be satisfied with where we are. We always have to search and seek for what's the next thing. Like, I accomplished this goal. What does Jesus have next for me? What does God have next on my path? So that's what I always look after. Am I sinking? Am I just being content with surviving, or am I thriving? When I accomplish a goal, I check it off. What's next? Wow. When I check that off, what's next? It's hard. It's not to say that I'm living like this lavish lifestyle, but I'm always continuously seeking what's the next thing that God has for me along my path. And that's gotten me to where I am now. So from your question, I went on a long tangent. You said, what's something I have to overcome? is the voices, the people around me, the ideologies, like those people telling me like, okay, you're good where you are. You don't have to keep working. Even this weekend right now, so many people trying to pull me in different directions, but it's like, what is the last thing God told me to do? What's the last thing that he assigned me to do? And within my business, that's continue to work, continue to put in the effort. Because if I stop now, then who knows where I would be if I just take this moment off. Like everything comes in seasons. Everything comes in a moment. But if you mess up in that moment, it's detrimental to your future in the end.
So just hearing you talk, I love that. You said, are you sinking, surviving, or thriving? Mm-hmm. It almost sounds like you feel you incorporate God and Christ into every facet of your life, including your work, including your business. Mm-hmm. And it sounds like we almost have an obligation to pursue our purpose because it's the gifts God gave us. How important would you say it was incorporating Christ and God into your business, and what impact has it had on the overall success or your ability to thrive in your business?
How important is literally everything. Yeah. Now, like I said, to be vulnerable, when I first started off, I didn't think that. I didn't have that mindset at all. But now, where I'm standing at, I know all the more, like, when I seek after Jesus, when I seek after God, when I seek after the kingdom, then, like I said, it's all these things you will have afterwards. But if I didn't do that in the beginning, like, I think sometimes, like, if I would have just been faithful in the beginning, if I would have done what God called or asked me to do, where would I be now? Yeah. So you ask, like, how important is it? It's literally everything. I'm trying to teach the people around me, my friends now, like, okay, be faithful to what God called you to do. Do what he asked you to do. We're talking about right now in our small groups, our circles, is like making Jesus Lord of your life. Now that I'm doing that, like, it's still hard times. It's not to say that you just turn around and make everything easier, but you see in this moment, when I make Jesus Lord of my life, when I continue to be faithful, when I do the things that he asked me to do, then the fruit will continue to show. Yeah. Like, by being faithful to him, seeking after everything he said do, the fruit will come. And then once you bear the fruit, like I said, check that off, and then what's next?
I find it so interesting how you were saying, like, I guess in your business, in your respect, God kind of blessed you with the gifts of photography business, I guess that drive, and also the interest in it. And there's a beauty in kind of like pursuing that and going down that path. So somebody who, let's say, for example, somebody who just moved to a new city, maybe because they had a job relocation or whatever it is, and they're on the fence about whether they should pursue this passion or this purpose that God put in their life. What's the biggest piece of advice that you would give them?
The biggest piece of advice. Let's see. I'm looking to the camera.
You could think about it too. Don't feel pressure to answer it right away.
No, it's cool. I'll say the first thing that comes to mind, so I don't just seem fake. But biggest piece of advice I would say is don't listen to the naysayers around you. Don't listen to the lies. Don't listen to the people that say you can't make it, that say you'll never have nothing. Don't listen to the lies of the devil that's coming through people. Like, literally where you are now, like, everything you have is all you need. When somebody told me that before, it's like, it was strong enough. Like, literally take the things that you have, push forward with them. Don't quit. Like, don't give up on yourself. Like, you have everything that you need capable to complete the purpose, the mission, the call that God's giving you. Like, of course, it's going to take effort. Of course, it's going to take time. Of course, it's going to take diligence and persistence. But God's giving you all the tools you need. Like, you look at Timothy, right? Mm-hmm. Like, when you said on the pod, you're like, how do we know him now? And then what did you say? We know him as?
Oh, you mean Thomas.
I'm sorry, Thomas.
Thomas, yes.
What do we know him as? Doubting
Thomas.
There we go. Yeah, doubting Thomas. So in that moment, he didn't know he had everything. But now where we are, we know him for all of the great works that he did, because Paul was there to mentor him. Paul was there to put him in a place and tell him, like, everything that's within you, God gave it to you. Yes. God put you in a position to be able to reach this caliber of where you are, reach the caliber of your best self. So everything that God put in you, use it. Like, push and push. Don't quit on yourself. Don't doubt yourself. And don't feel like where you stand now is not good enough. Like, even if it's lower than everybody else, start one step at a time. One step at a time, one step at a time. It's like when we do work marches, we go, they tell us you're going to do a 15-mile work march. It sounds so difficult. It sounds like it's treacherous, but once you take that first step, like, all right, we kicking now. You get down on that first mile, that second mile. It's like you're just taking one step at a time. You don't think about the end goal. You just, how can I get from where I am now to the next mile? Yeah. And you keep yourself how would I say it? You keep yourself full. You keep yourself with nutrients. Like we eat after a couple miles, and then once we get there, we might take a break, we might rest, and then we get back up and continue the journey. But we don't stop there when we eat for the first time and just say, okay, I'm done now. We know there's so much more of the journey. But when I eat there, it's like, okay, I'm going to read my word, keep on going. I need more nutrients. I'm going to be around faithful people. I'm going to be around people that love God. Keep on going. I'm going to need more nutrients. Now I'm going to read God's word again. I'm going to pray, asking for his guidance. I'm going to keep on going. Now I'm halfway through. Am I just going to quit here? Even if there was one female, she was there with tears in her eyes. She was like 4'11" with all that weight on her back, but she was still going like up the mountain. Nobody could help her because like, okay, you're going to make it through this by yourself or you're not worthy enough. But again, like I said, everything you have, that's all you need. She made it to the end with tears in her eyes. Her feet probably was blistering. Wow. Her body was hurting, but she made it to the end because she didn't give up on herself. She was like, okay, like I've made it this far through 9 weeks. I'm not going to go back home and say like I gave up on myself after all of this. Like this is the last event. I'm going to make it to the end. So don't give up on yourself. Keep going. You got it.
That was perfectly articulated. Everything you just said, like there was so much value in that. So thank you so much for your time today, Darnell. Last question is, how can we support you? What can our audience do to support you?
How can you support me?
Yeah.
Oh, that's too easy. It's people around you that need love. It's people around you that need help. It's people around you that just need a conversation. To help me, help the person next to you. Open your eyes, open your ears, and use your heart to be empathetic, as I said earlier. Like, love those people and tend to them. Go speak to them as a friend, speak to them with love, and encourage them. Everybody needs encouragement. You never know who is that one person. For me, it's like it's soldiers. You never know who's that one soldier. Wow. You may never know who's that one coworker that needs a word of encouragement. And to help me, you will be helping the kingdom, and that's what's important to me. So make sure that you're not only going to church or going to your small groups, to your circles, and giving them advice. Help the people that's around you, help people that's at work, help the people that may never come to church. Like, again, D3, I was watching him today. My bad, going to tangent, but we ending.
Yes.
I feel like it's important. So he said his wife plays tennis, and to be good at tennis, you're going to have the ball hit back to you. But if you never know how to return the ball and hit back, then you won't win the game. Yeah. So he translated that over, and he used that as an example. Like, when the enemy and the devil is attacking you, you have to learn how to fight back. You have to learn how to hit back. And Jesus hit back with the word. So when people around you and they look discouraged, give them the word, encourage them. When the devil comes and attacks you, use the word, fight back. Help other people, and that's how you can help me. Hey, that's more than enough.
Amen, Darnell. You are such a special human being. Your kindness, your work ethic, your intelligence, and just your sincere, authentic care for others is something that's difficult to find. So just thank you for being you, and thank you for sharing your wisdom and your knowledge and experience with our audience today. Where can we find you?
Where can you find me?
Yeah.
All right, so on Instagram is Houdini Portraits. That's HOUDINI Portraits, PORTRAITS. And then help support the business if you want, HoudiniPortraits.com. I'm in El Paso. I'm doing everything from portraits, headshots. I do videography. I do weddings, quinceañeras, birthday parties. Todo. Anything you might need, I'm there for it within the photography, videography space. I also have a studio. I'm on Pelicano, George Dieter. Ooh. So
he upgrading. He fancy these
by
days.
Appointment only, but you can find me there. And then any questions you might have, I'm here to help.
Ooh, all right. Thank you so much for joining us today, Darnell. Yeah. And thank you guys so much for watching. We're super excited to have more guests like Darnell on upcoming episodes. So make sure to subscribe, hit the like button, stay tuned, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.